So, hello everybody. I'm astronaut Ron Garan, and this is a Google Plus Hangout being hosted by the What If Prize. And What If Prize is one of the many initiatives that attempts to use space exploration, attempts to use our space program to inspire the next generation of explorers, to inspire students to academic excellence, to inspire them to study science, technology, engineering, and math. And it's a really important thing for our future. You know, a lot of the problems facing our planet have a technological solution to them, and unless we have the capability to find those technological solutions, we're not going to be able to solve those problems. So I want to introduce Anousheh Ansari, who is with What If Prize. This is one of her many endeavors that she's involved with. And so, Anousheh, what can you tell us about the What If Prize?
Well, we started the What If Prize for the middle school students about 3 years ago, and we've had a competition every year very successfully. And we have opened it up to people from all over the world because we like to share knowledge with students from every part of the world, and we learn from each other that way. This year's competition is expanding to high school students, so we have a competition for middle school and high school students, and both are very exciting, and we've had a great response so far from all over the world. The registration has, we expect the entries to all be in by end of this week, and within a few weeks from that time we will have winners of both middle school and high school competitions announced. The middle school competition is all about the Curiosity rover and all the learnings that we've had over the past year and a half from its findings on Mars, and posing what if the life of the rover has come to an end, hypothetically, and finding ways to extend the life and extend the use of the rover on Mars. And the high school competition is about a new propellant system, something that's not very dangerous and something that anyone can do at home using soda pops and candy, and finding ways of making that type of propellant work better, and find the right mixture and right designs that would allow for this type of propellant to be used for this type of experiments. So we have two very exciting competitions going on, and we look forward to reviewing all the entries very soon. With that, I also want to introduce someone very with us. Is you are a very experienced person with all the history you have with NASA and your experience with your space flights, but we also have someone who has a lot of experience with unmanned space flights, and someone who's especially done a lot of work with the exploration of our solar system planets, and that's Mr. Firouz Naderi, part of this hangout with us. And I'd like to pass the floor to Firouz now to tell us a little bit about some of the exciting projects he's been working on.
Yeah, well, thank you, Anousheh. Yes, I've been involved with solar system exploration since 2000, when I first became the Mars program manager. Mars has been a very challenging planet for us. The Curiosity, which we successfully landed, was the 50th object that we have either tried to land on Mars or fly by Mars or orbit Mars. And so far, 23 have succeeded and 27 have failed, going back 40, 50 years. Fortunately, we are on a winning streak. The last 6 projects that we have had with Mars, they have all been successful. Currently, we have 2 orbiters around Mars, NASA orbiters. Odyssey and Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, and there is also a European orbiter. On the surface, we have Opportunity, which was landed in 2004, was supposed to last 90 days, but now it is in its ninth year. It was supposed to roam for about 600 meters, and it has now roamed for 36,000 meters. And of course, the most exciting is Curiosity, which we landed about 6 months ago. The objective of the Mars program is trying to find out if Mars was ever habitable, meaning could it have possibly hosted life? The results that came back from Curiosity about 2-3 weeks ago tells us that yes, Mars could have been a habitat. Now, we don't know, in fact, whether life ever arose on Mars or not. The jury still is out on that. So Curiosity has already met its objective in the sense of telling us that Mars could have, potentially hosted life. Already, we're working on the next rover to Mars that will be launched in 2020, which would be essentially a copy of the Curiosity. What we're hoping to do with that one is to gather some samples, rock and soil sample of Mars, and put it inside a container which is maybe the size of a football or a soccer ball. And then subsequent to that, another mission will go to Mars and will take this soccer ball and launch it into orbit around Mars. And then a third mission will go to it and get this soccer ball from the orbit of Mars and bring it back so that we can examine it, in the terrestrial laboratories. So we have an exciting series of projects which will continue well into the next decade. And then maybe one day, Anousheh, you were the first woman tourist in space. Maybe you'll become the first woman to go to Mars.
I would love that, and but I actually hope that one of the students that are competing now for these prizes will definitely have a chance to do the same. But thank you for that, and also I will send you some of the great ideas we expect to get from the students on how we can prolong the life of the Curiosity rover on Mars and get more for the bank.
We will look forward to it, and so the students will give us ideas, and NASA will give us money, and we will go.
We'll be all set.
Yeah.
I just wanted to also welcome another person who's been a big supporter of What If Prize, and also has done a great deal in inspiring young kids about space through visual effects. And he launched a project called The World at Night, which is around astrophotography and special techniques and all the unbelievable imagery of Tuan is available online for everyone to feast their eyes on. But I let Babak Tafreshi from Tuan also give us a little bit about his project.
Thank you, Anousheh. It's a great pleasure to be in this hangout with you, Ron, and also Firouz and the rest of the group. Well, the World at Night is not actually an astronomy outreach program. Well, we are trying to popularize astronomy through these pictures, but our main aim is to show the night sky from another perspective, from a part of our life, from a part of our nature and society. So usually people think of night sky as an astronomer's laboratory. But beyond this definition, the night sky is just a part of our life, an element that human being has been living with for thousands of years. And unfortunately, during the last century, because of increasing light pollution, this part of our nature is just forgotten in many urban areas. So the World at Night is trying to show that the night sky in its pure unspoiled natural look is an important heritage to protect. And at the same time, we try to show that all we see in the night sky above different symbols of civilizations, over a temple, a church, or a mosque, is just one roof over all humanity. So maybe under this roof, we are connected as one family and one home.
Great, thank you, Babak. I find it very interesting that we have you with the project that you're heading at Tuan, looking at the night skies and capturing the beauty of the night skies to bring all of us together from different countries of the world. And then we also have Ron with Fragile Oasis, looking down at our planet from space and showing us the beauty of our own planet, and still making the same point that we're all part of inhabitants of this beautiful planet that we need to protect. So we have points of view actually coming together and making the same point from the two different perspectives.
Yeah, two sides of the same coin.
Exactly, exactly. This is great. We also have Alex Rivera, who's one of the students competing for the What If Live Prize, who is also here joining us on this Hangout. Thank you, Alex. And we have Edith Weeks, who's also joining us. She has a team that is competing for the What If Prize as well, and we look forward to receiving the entries and reviewing that as well. We have Helio Dutra also, who's one of the students competing for the What If Live Prize as well. So we are grateful to have them here. We also have Mr. Marcelo Souza from Brazil joining us. He's also a great friend of What If Prize and a big advocate of astronomy and trying to show all the students the beauty of night skies and get them interested into science and math and engineering and STEM education through astronomy. So thank you, all of you, for joining us. And with that, I'd like to maybe open it up and allow others to ask questions of any of the participants. So perhaps, I don't know if Alex or Helio, any of you guys have had any questions while you were working on your project. How's it coming along?
Well, I'm not a student of the project because Dr. Sosa invited me to this hangout to hear about this project.
Excellent. Well, if you're not participating this time, you definitely have to participate next year then, now that you know all about it.
I'm a student of physics over here in Puerto Rico.
Ah, very good. And,
well, I have a little question, maybe not related to the prize, but interesting, about this recent news of a comet approaching Mars, which will probably become super bright in the Martian sky, and with very small probability of, in fact, crashing to Mars, which might be not happening, but is still a possible. And this will change a lot of Mars programs operating at the moment, because it will change the whole planet into a very dusty environment for quite a long time. So I wonder, what is the Firouz idea on the future of the program if the comet, impact the red planet?
Well, as you say, Babak, right now, the best guess is that it will fly very close to the planet, but not yet certain that it would hit the planet. I think the odds of it hitting Curiosity would be even lower. But fortunately, for Curiosity, even if there was, as a result of this thing, a global dust storm on Mars, because Curiosity is nuclear powered as opposed to Opportunity, it will not impact it quite as much. So I'm not sure that it would have any major any significant impact on the operating assets that we have on Mars. But you and I have talked before, Babak. It would be very interesting to see whether the assets that we have on or about Mars can observe what would be once in a generation or two events. Maybe the Curiosity cameras or MRO cameras can, in fact, capture the event.
Anyone have any questions?
Well, I have a question, Anousheh. Can you describe how the What If Prize came about? What was the motivation for it, and maybe a little bit of the history of the prize?
Sure. We started the What If Prize because I'm a big believer that people will learn a lot by just asking questions, and especially asking the questions that others may be hesitant or reluctant to ask. I'm a big believer in everything and also using your imagination to imagine new possibilities. So the prize is very much centered around that whole concept, and as you can imagine, if you go back and look at the history of our previous competitions, you can see that the questions that have been posed or the previous competitions are really futuristic scenarios. We had 1 year we had a competition around an orbiting station that's housing 500 families, and we asked students to describe life in this orbiting station and describe their school and what topics they will be studying and how they're interacting with their other classmates studying on Earth. And it was a very interesting, we had very interesting entries. Another time, right around the time where we had the ash cloud due to volcano, we had a competition actually taking that to the next level and saying if that was a much larger ash cloud that had caused breakdown in communication and travel and a lot of other things. And we had, again, these students in an orbiting station, how they would be able to help people on Earth through what they had at their disposal on the station. And, just talking with Firouz and Babak today about Mars, and also in the news, we've seen a lot of activities around near orbit objects. We had comets going very close to Earth. We had one meteor hitting in Russia, and perhaps next year we can have a competition around this type of topics. If there was actually an encounter on Earth or a possible encounter, how would the students be able to, our planet against that, and maybe gain some ideas that way. But we have a lot of entries that go from very practical entries to ideas that are really, out of the box and would probably require some new inventions and technologies. But we have one strict rule: you cannot break the laws of physics. As long as you don't break the laws of physics, you can imagine anything you want.
That's awesome. I think it's really interesting that we're having this conversation, and while we're having this conversation, 3 humans have launched from our planet, and they're on their way to the space station. And Anousheh, when you and I launched on a Soyuz spacecraft, we spent a couple of days, catching up to the space station, and this is the first time that we're going to try and rendezvous and dock on the first day. So we're just a few hours away from those guys docking on the space station after only 4 orbits of the planet. So it's going to be really amazing.
Wow, that's amazing. I could take a trip on that Soyuz mission. Definitely the 2 days in the Soyuz was one of the most challenging parts, because most of the time that you're getting used to, your body is getting used to, being in microgravity, and, we can have a lot of side effects, some not very pleasant, as you know.
Yeah.
So it sounds great, and it is exciting to be talking about this happening, and it's a historic moment.
Mm-hmm.
And there are lots of historic moments that are happening, starting with some of the successful flights of SpaceX Dragon last year, where we see now a lot of private companies participating in expanding our reach to space. And the most important thing, and part of the reason we have this competition, the What If Live prize competition, is to look for more cost-effective ways, safer ways to put humans and other things into orbit. And for that, we definitely, to reduce the cost significantly, we do need a new propulsion system and people thinking out of the box in different ways of putting objects or people in orbit. So we hope that we, again, get people interested in that topic through this X Prize, through this What If Prize Live competition. And hopefully we will have some new propulsion engineers that will result out of this activity.
So Anousheh and Ron, we may have some new attraction for you guys to go visit.
Okay.
We are studying right now it is a study. Hopefully it will turn into a live mission and we'll get funding for it. We are planning to go into deep space, rendezvous with an asteroid, something about 5 to 15 meters, maybe about 1,000 tons. And then we're taking with us a very large bag. And then what we will try to do is to capture the asteroid in the bag and then return with it to Earth as the asteroid naturally is coming to Earth. But along the way, we're having solar electric propulsion, trying to modify the orbit of this returning asteroid so that when it gets to the moon, the gravity of the moon can capture it into an orbit around the moon, maybe in a 60,000 kilometers around the moon, in 2022-23. And then by that time, the SLS and Orion hopefully would be online, and we would have astronauts drawn. Maybe you would like to go and in fact visit the captured asteroid in orbit around the moon and be able to sample it and maybe bring a lot of the samples back. Down the road, if in fact we detect something that it is on a collision orbit with Earth, we would like to learn as much as possible about how you would deflect such objects. And this mission not only will teach us a bit about the makeup and composition of these asteroids, will help inform us, if need be, how we may rendezvous and interact with these objects. But hopefully there is an asteroid around the orbit of the moon where you can go visit in early 2020s.
Yeah, that mission is a really good example of how important it is to study math, because you wouldn't want to get the math wrong on that. So I'm sure we'll be double checking the numbers quite a bit.
Yeah, just to ease your mind, the size of the asteroids that we bring back, that will burn up. Should it come back to the Earth atmosphere, it will burn up in the Earth atmosphere, so it'll never reach Earth anyway.
That's good.
So.
That would be very interesting, and it, being from Texas actually, and living in Texas, it definitely gives a new meaning to space cowboys.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
Folks and capture some asteroids.
In fact, one of the options that we're studying about riding this asteroid back to the moon, that option is called Ride 'em Cowboy.
Yeah.
So.
See, I knew that Texas had something to do with it.
Exactly.
That's great. This is great. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Sure.
It's like an exciting project. And there are some activity going on around studying asteroids and studying them for mining purposes too. friends have announced a company that is planning to launch unmanned missions to asteroids to explore mining precious metals and other material from asteroids.
Yeah, I should add that, by the way, this asteroid on the moon may also provide a testing ground for some of these commercial companies to, in fact, test out their their mining gears and their mining process.
That would be very interesting. Yeah. But they will be happy to fund the project, or at least half of the project for you.
Funny thing, I was going to give you a call.
Wonderful. Any other topics or any other question you guys have that you would like to discuss before we bring the hangout finish?
Well, something, yeah. Marcelo, please go ahead.
No, please. Me? Okay. Today is the Holy Week here in Brazil. We have a big holiday. This is the reason we don't have many students here connected. They are trying, but they found difficulties to join to Google Plus due to this Hangout because the connection, internet connection, isn't good. Then they have some kinds of problems to connect. And I have one question about the what if, and because we are talking about this, Anousheh, how many countries are involved?
Well, we don't restrict the countries, but this year I believe we have 5 countries participating. We have people from Australia, from Bahrain, from Kuwait, from India, of course a lot from US, different states in the United States. I believe we actually have people from Brazil participating, but it's great to see people from all over the world showing interest to be part of it.
And about the asteroid that he was talking, here we saw 2 meteors. In my city, we saw 3 meteors in different years, in the last 4 years. Then now it's helping us with the popularization of astronomy here, because we have our sky camera in our city, and the Audio TV from Brazil now is asking us when they saw something in the sky, something across the sky, then everybody's talking with us here in our city, because we have only one, not I don't know how to say in English the right word, but we have 3 cameras near here. One in our city, one in another city that's not so far from us, and the other in another state. And it's the only one that we have here in Brazil. And this is what is motivating many students to participate in our astronomy club now. And now we have the group now is growing due to only the information about the meteor that crossed the sky here. And many people we saw one during the day now. And I think that this now is something that many people is talking here after what happened in Russia. I don't know if this can be some kind that can help any kind of contest or competition about astronomy.
That's great. Marcello, actually I was very fortunate to visit Marcello at his university and meet a lot of great people in this field, as well as actually watch a live rocket launch competition that he's part of every year for students, and also visit some of the schools in Brazil. Marcello, maybe you can tell everyone a little bit about your university and some of the programs there.
Okay. Now we are developing a new program that let's talk about dreams. That we began now with the support of UNESCO office here in Brazil. That we are visiting schools and with telescopes, and we have a inflatable, a mobile planetarium here that we developed, and we are making many activities with them, including water rockets, and now we are participating in a CanSat competition in the United States in June. Then our group began activities in 1996. And now we have the support of the media of our city and the schools in our city. We have three small observatories here in our city. And now many people is talking about astronomy now here. We because what motivated now in this year was the meteors that crossed the sky here. Because what they felt is that the press want to know about this. Many people are concerned about this. And in the last year, many people began to participate in the activity organized because they want to know more about astronomy and how to avoid any problem here in Earth. And the astronauts came here, Anousheh came here 2 times now in our city, and motivate many people. And her book, many people read her book here because we have an edition in Portuguese, that's
Okay.
launched here. And many people, mainly the women here, that are very motivated. In our club now we have many kids and many girls that began to participate here in the activities. One of them, we have three of these students participated in a mission in United States in the desert in the Ma Society. They stayed there during 1 week. Was the first group from Brazil that participated, and this is motivate many people to join. Then we are in this now. We want to develop this project that let's talk about dreams. This motivate. We are visiting schools, showing images with telescopes, the sky to see the moon, planets, and with the planetarium, with water rockets, and we are motivating them to imagine a trip to a planet of the solar system and to write about how they can develop a rocket and a spaceship to make this trip. This is what we are doing now.
That's great. It's wonderful. Especially, it's good to hear that since Brazil is one of the 16 countries supporting and part of the International Space Station operation. So it's wonderful to see that the space and astronomy is expanding and attracting more young students. Great. And Bobak, you had a question?
Yes. Do you have my sound? I have a technical problem here.
We can hear you well.
Oh, okay, perfect. So I was wondering, as NASA is now partnering more and more with private investment in space programs, and since always research space programs comes parallel with outreach activities and education.
Now we lost you.
Yep, I think we lost it.
I bet it was a great question.
Yep.
So maybe he'll join back in. Any other questions or comments? We have probably another 5 minutes left on Hangout.
Yes, I have a question. This is Edith Weeks. Hello, everyone.
Hi, Edith.
Hi, Anousheh. My question is, of course, not everybody can win the What If Prize. So what happens to the students who do not win? Will there be some way for us to recognize their participation, some way for them to feel like winners even if they don't officially win?
Sure. All is actually that will be made available for everyone to read, and so everyone will be recognized in terms of participation. We also send a certificate to each individual and thanking them for their participation, and we hope that they would actually continue participating in following years, and hopefully we do want this to continue on, so we don't want this to be limited. to the just to the time frame that the competition is going on, and we hope the sponsors and the teachers like yourself continue the discussions in the classrooms and carry it forward until the next year competition comes along. But definitely we want to interact and stay connected with the students throughout the years, and we're also continuously asking for ideas of how we can have better engagement. And so if you have ideas or suggestions on how we can continue keeping students interested and motivated during the entire year instead of just during the competition time, we definitely would be very interested to learn them.
So Babak is back. Maybe Babak, are you back with us?
Oh yes, sorry about that.
So what about the education and outreach?
So I was wondering if NASA is going to do more partnership with outside organization, private funding in education and outreach, similar to what is going on with private funding for space programs and research.
Well, I don't know if, I'll let Ron handle that because sequestration is doing a number on outreach. I'll let you handle that, Ron, since you're in Washington.
Yeah, we need Leland Melvin to be here to answer that. We'll have to. My honest answer is I don't know the answer to that question. I hope that's the case. I think the education outreach and the public outreach that we do is a very, very important part of our mission. And just like Anousheh was saying, this is really important that we're motivating the next generation of explorers, of astronauts, of engineers, of scientists. And it is a really important part of the NASA mission. So whether we're going to follow the same model of commercialization or not in the education outreach part of it is to be seen, I think. But I think it's a wonderful model to follow, and I think there's probably a lot of opportunity for that in the future. It's not a good answer. It's the only answer I have based on not having all the facts.
And also, maybe I can just add a few words based on my experience. As I mentioned, this year was the first year we added the What If Live competition for high school students, and that is done in partnership with NASA. So I think what I have found personally that they're open in NASA is open to partnerships. Of course, I mean, based on a lot of budget cuts and everything, there's not a lot of room for financial support, and so that's not part of the deal. But they are very eager to work with organizations who can help, with outreach programs, and they're willing to provide support and facilities and material. And help facilitate some activities to get the word out. So definitely there are opportunities. I found that there are opportunities for partnership given the framework, but just a word to the wise for people who are on the private side that you're dealing with a government agency, so you have to be prepared to deal with some bureaucracy and a lot of paperwork. So as long as you're willing to do that, I think it's great. And once you get past that part, then it's great to work with people there. They are very, very supportive and excited about working with private organizations. And of course, I find NASA to be a place that there's a wealth of material and knowledge, and you can definitely, if you tap into that, then you are on a very good path to do a great outreach program.
Yeah, I have one technical question too that might be interesting for the prize, in fact, for the students. What is the actual higher limit of speed in our propulsion system today?
That's a good question, but I'm not the right person.
What was the question again?
What is the limit that we have reached in propulsion system, the limit of speed today? Because some ideas are on the border of fiction, some are in science fiction, and some in reality, like ion propulsion or similar systems. So what is the speed that we have reached, in fact?
Yeah, I'm not sure that I would be the right person to answer that.
So, because people are used to see space shuttle program and now new rockets, but these are not really the fastest we have to reach outer space if we want to go to other planets, or even to interstellar medium in future. So we need much faster speed for propulsion system. So I was wondering, in laboratories, in NASA laboratories, what is the limit that we've reached?
So I don't have the answer to your question exactly, but so there are two issues in the propulsion system. One, the one that I'm very interested in is reducing the cost of access to space. So looking at new propulsion system or new methods of accessing space that will bring the cost down, because speed is not that important in reaching orbit. As long as you can reach the escape velocity, then you're in orbit and you're fine. Now, if you're talking about interstellar or just even the solar system, traveling to other planets and reducing that, other project that I'm aware of, and that's sort of in collaboration with NASA, is the work that Franklin Chang Diaz is doing on the Razmir engine. And I know he's making great progress. I know that they're supposed to fly the engine to ISS and do some tests there, but I don't have a lot of detail as to when that will happen. But that's, I think, supposed to cut the expected flight time to Mars into one half or 1/3 of the expected time right now. And I don't know, Ron or Firouz, if you guys have any other information around that.
Yeah, no, I was going to mention Franklin's engine as well, but it's one of the biggest priorities that we have is new methods of propulsion, because in order to explore the solar system, especially with human exploration of the solar system, we're going to need incredible increases in the technology of propulsion. So, but I don't know what the top speed we've reached theoretically in the laboratory yet is, but it's probably a lot lower than we need. So at this point.
Yeah, in terms of practical, I think the two numbers that I can quote you. One, of course, I think the Voyager is leaving the solar system at the speed of, I believe it's about 70,000 kilometers per hour. And I think the fastest spacecraft that we had was when Pluto went by Jupiter and picked up a bit of the speed from Jupiter. And if I remember correctly, that number was like about 200 to 250 kilometers per hour. So that's the only data I have right now.
I think, just a correction, 200,000 kilometers.
What did I say?
No, 200. So.
No, 200,000, 250,000.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good. So, Babak, do you have ideas about something that you're keeping as a secret or that you're not sharing with us?
So, some of the pictures you mentioned, or?
No. Do you have any secret project going for a new propulsion system that you're testing?
Oh. Well, no. Well, besides photography, I'm also a science journalist. I like new ideas. I read all the news, and some of them are scientific. Some are, at the border of science fiction. So I'm always wondering what is going on in real inside the laboratories.
What things that you've seen so far? Any new ideas that you've seen as a?
Well, I was most excited about the solar sail idea, in fact, because it's so simple and seems so practical. But unfortunately, there were a few failures in this project, so I don't know what's going to happen in future.
So the propulsion system, Babak, that is going to enable this asteroid return mission that I told you about, we are working on a 40 kilowatt solar electric propulsion. And that is what you would need in order to transport something about 1,000 tons, a 1,000-ton asteroid. And if that mission goes, the key technology to develop for it would be the 40 kilowatt subsystem.
Well, thank you everyone for participating. This was my first Google Hangout, so I'm glad that you all joined me in letting everyone know about the What If Prize and also sharing some of the exciting projects that you are working on and our shared passion for making sure that students all over the world really get to know about space, astronomy, and also get them interested and let them know how cool and exciting it is to learn about how everything works. And, I'm glad that you joined me, and I hope that we'll get to do this again in the future.
Thank you, Anousheh. Thank you, Ron. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thanks to everyone, not only for being on the Hangout, but for all that you're doing to inspire the next generation. It's really it's inspiring me, so thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.